Hello, everyone. My name is Nathalie Campbell, and I am the Vice President of Candace's Sickle Cell Fund. Today, I'm with Andrew Musa and Damola Adeyemi. These are two board of directors for the Candace's Sickle Cell Fund. We will be speaking today about sickle cell disease and the challenges and effects it has on the male. And why we choose that topic. Generally, which is interesting, folks ask, do men have sickle cell? And yes, males do have sickle cell disease. So we wanted to address the audience because we know a lot of times we generally hear from the female perspective, but we do want to speak to these two men with regards to just what it's been like having been diagnosed with sickle cell from birth and, going through young adulthood and then eventually having a family or having to work a full-time job and dealing with the challenges that sickle cell disease can pose to an individual. So I want to speak with Damola first and just try to have a conversation with you about what was it like coming of age with having been diagnosed, at a young age with sickle cell, and how had you had to deal with it, when you were growing up?
Hi, Natalie. Thanks for allowing me to speak and on this topic. I think growing up, my parents weren't really sure about sickle cell. They didn't have enough knowledge about what sickle cell is. They just knew that they had a bunch of kids that got sick a lot, and they treated us. They treated our sickle cell the best way they knew, which is giving us pain medicine. But they didn't know. They weren't sure about the underlying conditions about what sickle cell is and how it affects us. They just knew that we just got sick a lot. So I wasn't really I wasn't truly fully informed until I was in my late teens, that I started, I guess, seeking more information about what was going on with my body and how this disease was affecting me. So and it took me a while, even after I learned what sickle cell was, but I couldn't merge and match that to what was going on with me. I just knew intellectually what sickle cell was. So it wasn't until I entered the workforce that I started, exhibiting true signs and the stresses of life, that it started really taking a toll on on my my health, due to the sickle cell that I had.
So I wanted to ask you, when you were in, say, high school, generally teens tend to be a part of sports,
Hmm.
activities, and so forth. Were you a part of any of that? And if so, any challenges, or just did you know that that wasn't something you could do?
Okay, so let me just put. I'm gonna elaborate on this, but let me just put it in a nutshell. Me, I was very active in my mind. So pretty much just to say the spirit was willing, but the body was weak, was actually my life story. I wanted to play sports. I loved soccer. I loved basketball. I loved football. I loved volleyball. Um, but growing up, every time I engaged in those type of sports in school, whether it was at home or in school, I was always the slowest and and the last person that got picked to be part of a team. And I'm not talking about real. I mean, the school sports team. I'm just talking about regular, street kids playing a sport and just wanted a body on their team. I mean, I I didn't even get a chance to get nominated because I, you know, my blood oxygen level was so low. Um, I gassed out in any sport that I played within 5 minutes. So that was very reflective in my entire life. So even though I was very interested in playing sports, wanted to play sports physically, my body it wouldn't allow me.
So did that have any impact on you with building and maintaining friendships?
Yeah, of course. I mean, um, usually growing up, yeah, I mean, I had friends that, or friends who were who were part of a team or who were athletic. They always seemed to be the coolest people in the school. And um, not to say that, they were they were important, but the fact that uh, I I couldn't I wasn't able to compete on any sports level, and I'm not talking about, like I said, like not just school level, but just regular playing on streets. um yeah, it did affect my ability to to make friends, because um if you are decent at any sport, they kind of respect you a little bit and they'd want to be friends with you. And because I wasn't able to compete um, in any level, yeah, it did affect the amount of friendships that I had, or the level of friendships that I was able to build.
And
Um,
then what impact did that have on your self-esteem then?
oh, it had a lot of impact on my. I mean, it had a huge impact on my self-esteem because growing up, being a young boy, wanting to do all these things that I see all my friends um, doing naturally, normally, and me not able to do any of those things. you know Not only did some verbal um jabs thrown my way, saying, calling me weak, calling me skinny, or not able, not able, just not able to just to do the average thing that a normal kid does. Yeah, there was uh, uh, a lot of verbal uh, things that were thrown my way that wasn't nice, and that definitely affected my self-esteem. Uh, Growing up, where I felt like I wasn't equal, I wasn't wanted, and that actually, motivated me to actually wanted to find something that I was good at. But the more I, tried, uh, you know, the more I tried to, find something that I can be good at, the more um, challenging it became for me, uh, because of my health. My health was always it always became an issue for me
Did you
to
experience a lot of hospitalizations and so forth when you were younger, or was it just mainly you were ill and just couldn't, you were ill but at home and not necessarily in the hospital? What
Yeah,
was
I
your
think it
experience?
was. Yeah, to me it was both. I mean, you know I grew up in Nigeria, and there wasn't a lot of medical uh, care in Nigeria that we had access to. So my mom, would do her best to treat us at home. They didn't really have any good hospitals in Nigeria, so a lot of it was home treatment. But when I came back here in my late teens, I was hospitalized a lot. Um, um, so yeah, so I mean, but compared to some other people, yeah, I mean, I wasn't as bad, but yeah, I do remember being hospitalized a lot when I was in my younger years and into teenage years.
So if you were to speak to your younger self or encounter a young, adolescent, a youth growing up now, having
Mhm.
been diagnosed with sickle cell, what advice or what type of conversation would you have with them having to deal with the diagnosis and all the hurdles, that, you've had to encounter and, that more than likely they're encountering um, in growing up, and coming of age with other friends and so forth.
Yeah, I think for me, I think the biggest thing that I wish that I had when I was young, when I was growing up, was I wish I had a mentor, someone a male figure that was older than me, that had sickle cell, that had similar experiences in terms of the health issues that sickle cell disease causes. I wish I had a male figure that could have mentored me, um, because I did have a lot of questions. Unfortunately, most of the people that I grew up with, and even my parents, like I said, they didn't really quite understood what sickle cell was. So, I couldn't really. I mean, it's not like I couldn't go to my dad or my mom. They knew that know, we were sick, but they couldn't relate. And I believe that if I would have had a male mentor that had sickle cell disease, I believe that I could have gotten a lot more. I could have picked their brains as far as, and got more understanding about what was going on with me, and also choosing a career, a career path that um, would have been conducive with my health. Um, but I didn't have that, and therefore I felt like I had to. Uh, I was on my own to find my own path in life, and due to me, finding my own path, a lot of mistakes were made along the way, which I wish I could have. I could have. I know I would have avoided if I had a male figure um, that had sickle cell disease.
That is something definitely our organization is exploring currently. We feel that having a mentor, if it's with our male warriors or our female warriors, just having them be able to communicate and have conversations with individuals that have gone through what they've gone through,
Mm-hmm.
that have experienced some of the challenges, and someone that understands the challenges and the pain that they're going through. So that is definitely something that our organization is looking towards. So we will be exploring that. We'll have conversations with our board, you guys, to see how we can, make that happen. But thank you so much for sharing your story. And it's a perfect transition into Andrew's, take on being an adult male with sickle cell. Because as we know, you have your pediatric doctor and your parent or caregiver that is there to take you to the doctor and make sure that your health is being taken care of. But then you you phase out of that pediatrician who coddled you, and now you're challenged with taking your health into your own hands. So Andrew, what has it been like for you as and transitioning from a pediatrician to now having to find your own adult healthcare provider and being on top of your own health?
Hi, Natalie. Thank you. Thank you so much for having us here to have this discussion. It's very, very important. Um, so to answer your question, I remember the first experience that kind of introduced me to the adult world, right? I was in college and I was turning 21 at the time. And I remember I had an episode. This was, I want to say, either around October, November, just around the time when the weather started to, get a lot more colder. So I got admitted to the hospital, and for the first time, I wasn't going to the pediatric department. I was going to the adults, and that was kind of like a eye opener to me. Like, wow, I'm really an adult now. Not only am I away from college, I mean away from home and in college, but now I'm in the hospital and I'm seeing a different part of the hospital for the first time, and it was a lot different. Obviously the meals weren't as good as the kid meals. So it just really shocked me, and reality kind of just set in. Like, this is on me now. This is on me now to be more responsible, and to just take better care of myself going forward. So that was the first thing that I noticed, and I would say overall my experience as an adult, and I think a lot of other people with sickle cell, Damola even stated it too, that as you grow older, your complications definitely decrease. They're not as frequent as they once were when you were a kid. I think that just comes with the experience. You know your body a lot more better, and you know the treatments that you need, and you also know how to stay on top of things yourself. For example, like myself, I know around this time of the year, around this season is usually when I can begin to develop some complications. So what do? I drink more water. I definitely dress warmer. Exercise, as moderately as I can. But those are the type of things that as you grow older, as an adult living with sickle cell, as a male adult living with sickle cell, you take more seriously, and you don't allow yourself to get sick because you don't want to go to the hospital. So overall, my experience as an adult living with sickle cell is definitely much less hospitalizations, less visits to the hospital, still going regularly to my doctor. I transitioned to a hematologist. I found a hematologist here in Montefiore Hospital, and they were able to really provide me with a lot more information and a lot more knowledge about sickle cell in general, how the blood works, how the bone marrow works, and just different aspects, things that nobody told me when I was younger, like the Mola was referencing. You don't have that mentor. You don't have that individual who you can go to or run to and say, hey, what is this? Hey, I'm feeling this. Have you ever felt this? And they can actually talk to you and explain it to you. So didn't have that growing up, but now as an adult, you just have to take the initiative, and you just have to be the one responsible for your own self and say, okay, I need to learn such and such. So this way I can not only help myself, but I can pass that information on to somebody else too. We're talking here about mentors. So although we didn't have that mentor growing up, we can definitely be that mentor now in this stage. So that's how the adult experience has been, and I can't complain. I'm doing pretty well, fairly well, and seeing my doctor on a regular basis. Communicating, I think that's key. As an adult now, you have to communicate. You don't have your mom or your dad or or any other care provider there to, speak on your behalf, most of the time they don't really know. They're just saying you're in pain. But as an adult, you're speaking for yourself now. You can actually give an account for what the problem is or where you think the problem stemmed from. And you can, speak that to your care provider, and they can actually use that information to provide you with the best adequate care possible. So I guess that's a great thing of being an adult. Obviously, you have that liberation. You can choose whatever doctor you want to choose, go to whatever hospital you want to go to. You have the choices now. So we use that advantage. We use that to our advantage, so this way we can be as healthy as we can.
So thank you so much for that. So our audience may be asking, why the male perspective? Why are we asking men? Don't men and women feel the same thing if they're diagnosed with sickle cell? So can you explain to our audience, if, as best as you can, what is it, the distinctions? Because the anatomy is different, the experience socially, social norms are very different. Right. So if you could explain to our audience, please. Thank you.
Yeah, the reason why we want to have the male perspective is because it is different. The social norms are different for males than it is for females. Nowadays, you see, there's a lot more cares and more organizations and more programs that are really catered to women more so than they are to men. A lot for good reasons. There's, women are in general seen as the care providers more so than males are. So you can kind of understand why, their voices are heard even more and their concerns are heard even more. But then as a result, the males kind of get left out. Their needs don't seem to be catered to. And that's not good for society. It's not good for a family. It's not good for anybody because they're just as important as the female providers. So yeah, we want to get the male perspective. Having the social norms where being in a society where males are characterized as being strong and manly and not showing emotions, not getting down. These things are pressures that males grow up with, right? And when you don't have that male figure, you can feel lost as a male growing up. You don't know how to express yourself effectively as a male, because there are different ways that men and women express themselves. So we kind of get left out of the picture, and then as a result, like I said, our needs don't get catered to, because when now you're in a hospital and a grown adult walks in and says, "How are you feeling?" You don't know what to say because no one has ever asked you that question before. So you're kind of just like, "My God, you're asking me a question? You're asking me how I feel?" And that can be kind of a new thing, right? A new experience for a male to see, somebody asking them a question, and they've never been used to that question before. They've never been used to anyone coming over and saying, "Hey, how do you feel? Are you okay? Do you need some water? Do you need some pain medicine? What can I do for you?" So, we need more of that in society. We need to allow men a safe space to voice their concerns and their needs and their wants, and kind of fight back this stigma out there that says, as a male, you can't be vulnerable. You ought to be vulnerable because it only allows you to be more healthy. And for people with sickle cell, it's not just the physical pain that we feel, it's the emotional pain too on top of that. So emotional pain is just as important as the physical pain. We want to make sure that males are getting the same kind of emotional and mental care, just the same way as they're getting that for their bodies. You can't take care of the body if you don't take care of the mind, the spirit, and the soul. So it's highly important that we listen to males. we get their perspectives, because we need more, like Damola said, we need more mentors, you know, for the next generation coming up. We need to show them how to be a male and how to express themselves as a male and be vulnerable as a male, and not worry about what other people say or what other people might think of you. So yeah.
Okay, so this question is going out to both of you men. You know, when it comes to developing a relationship with someone, an adult relationship with a significant other, or and then taking the next step to getting married, and then even the further step of talking about planning for children, because we know how important it is with regards to individuals that have sickle cell, and finding a mate that you have both decided to have children together with, and being, you know, identifying if that person also has the trait or sickle cell disease and the impact that may have on your future children. So Andrew, just wanted to speak to you first and ask you, what is it like when you have decided to, you and someone decided to develop a relationship with a significant other? How soon do you let that person know? And, you know, and how do you generally find that they receive what you're telling them?
I let them know. You definitely want to let them know, right? But I allow that to flow. I don't rush and tell them, hey, by the way, I have sickle cell. I allow the relationship to develop a little bit. The last time I was in a relationship, I revealed my condition to the person who I was with. When we were taking the trip to Brooklyn Bridge, we were on the train, and the train was packed, and there was nowhere to sit. So we're standing. You know how long a ride from the Bronx to Brooklyn can be. Very uncomfortable, especially if you're around people. So during that ride, I started to feel not so myself, right? And a little bit just off balance. And she asked me, she said, hey, how are you? Are you all right? And I said, I think I need a break. Let's get off on the next stop. So we got off on the next stop, and I sat down. And then after a couple of minutes, I started feeling a little bit better. I said, okay, we can just go up to the platform, and we can walk the rest of the way, because we really weren't that far from the Brooklyn Bridge. So I got some Gatorade, I got some liquids inside of me, and I started feeling much better. And we sat down on the bench. And like I said, after you develop, you know, a relationship and you see how the communication goes, you kind of know who that person is, and it would just naturally come out. So I just took the opportunity right then and there to say, hey, by the way, reason why that happened was because I have a condition. So I told her about it, and it was cool. I mean, she knew about it. She had a family member who also had it. So it was cool. It was like nothing, you know. It didn't have any impact or negative anything on her and the way she viewed me or the way she viewed the relationship. We went to the Brooklyn Bridge like it was like what we planned to do. It was a regular day, and I think most of the times we're afraid to reveal those very secret things to our partners. But like I said, sometimes it can be, you can be with somebody who, if you know you can trust them, when you reveal something like that, they probably end up loving you even more, because you're being vulnerable with them and you're really letting your guard down. And I think that's what kind of brought us even closer together. So it was actually a good thing. You know, I felt like, good, I got that off my chest. I got that, you know, I got that away with. It's not a problem to her. I didn't think it would be a problem, but we can continue on with our relationship the way we have already planned. So yeah.
I think ultimately for everyone that response is a response that we all, would hope that someone would give us if we're sharing something so intimate and dear to who we are,
Absolutely.
something that makes us who
Absolutely.
we are. So, Damol, I wanted to get your perspective on this issue.
Well, my story is a little different. It's a little similar to what Andrew went through as well, with his dating relationship. I think when I met my partner, this was I think I was in college, I believe, and we were dating, and I think for me, I felt like it was important for me to tell her as soon as I possibly could, because having sickle cell disease, there's that added pressure of rejection, especially with my history. You know, um, growing up and always being told, uh, you know, you're nothing, or just all that, and that a lot of the negativity that I grew up with. So to me, when I started dating, um, that was behind my, I was, in my mind of whether, okay, I want to find somebody who's genuine, who's going to be real with me, who's going to accept me for who I am, regardless of what my conditions were. And I was lucky enough, um, that the woman that I eventually had, two daughters with, she's the one that, when I told her, she, just like, Andrew's partner responded, she didn't think anything of it. And as a matter of fact, she felt more, you know, we felt more connected to each other, and she accepted me for who I was. She didn't judge me. She didn't make me feel like I was less than a man. And and I've been with her for, I mean, we had a little hiccup in our marriage, uh, that lasted a couple of years, but you know, uh, since 1999, we got married in 1999, and so it's going on 20 years right now. So, and she's the one that I've always felt like she understood me. She got me. And you know, when I had my issues, or when I was having crisis, or whenever I was sick, she was always there to like to understand and be patient with me, even though you know sh- it's hard for somebody who doesn't have the disease to really understand exactly the type of pain that we're going through. I mean, you could try to explain it as much as you possibly can to someone, but they won't truly 100% get it. Um, so it's important to find, the partner that's going to be patient with you and understand you, and are willing to, to pretty much, because what it is, your partner is going on a journey with you, a life journey. So it's important to find that person who's going to be patient, who believes in you and who trusts in you. So that was my experience. So I guess my advice, to anyone, uh, um, you know, that's looking for a partner is, it's just finding somebody that's going to be patient, someone who's going to be patient and is going to understand your condition, and pretty much find someone who's going to ride and die with you, no matter what. And that's hard to find these days, but they're out there, and that's been my experience. So I'm grateful that me and my ex-wife were together. So but it's possible.
I want to thank you both so much for taking the time out to speak with me. It's a pleasure to continue to work with you guys on the board of Candace's Sickle Cell Fund. Thank you for all your hard work. You know, this is really a great topic that I think that we have, you know, have partaked on and shared with others. And we want anyone who feels that they have any more questions to definitely reach out to the organization. Send us emails or reach us on our social media websites. We have Twitter, we have Instagram, and we have Facebook. There will be information in regards to how to get in touch with us after this. And we're always looking forward to bring you guys more information on sickle cell awareness. This is Sickle Cell Month. September is Sickle Cell Awareness Month. So please look out for more from us. And, you know, thank you again, Damola and Andrew. If you guys have any final words, please. Andrew?
Oh, thank you. Just want to say thank you. Thank you for having this event. Thanks to Mola for being a part of it. I learned a lot about you today. This is Sickle Cell Month, so we definitely want to get the word out, get people aware, and just build more momentum and excitement. And hopefully, you know, we have a cure, and we can say goodbye to sickle cell once and for all. But those living with it, it's still a blessing in disguise. Use it to your advantage. Be positive. Continue to grow and continue to show love, and that's it. That's my only message. Thank you.
Thank you. Damola?
Yes, thank you, and Natalie for conducting this interview. I think it's important that you know, this message gets out. There are a lot of men out there that you know, that don't have the confidence or don't know that there are people like me and Andrew out there, that we can be a voice, and then we can be an example for them. So, you know, I'm making myself available if there are any men out there that needs input, that needs advice, that needs someone to connect with. I'm available. I'm sure Andrew's also available. He's a great guy, you know. And thank you, Andrew, for sharing your story and sharing your life. I'm sorry, sharing your life. It's important that we as men, we you know we help each other out, especially because the sickle cell, it's, you know, it can be taxing, both emotionally and mentally, and physically. So, you know, I'm glad that I was able to have this interview. And you know, for those who are uh, just wanted to say shout out to everyone for Sickle Cell Month, for this September, and wishing and blessing for everyone.
Okay. Thank you all once again. It's Nathalie Campbell, Andrew Musa, and Adiola. Sorry,
Ooh.
Ademola Adeyemi. Thank you so much, Damola. All right. Take care and have a good evening.
All right. Bye bye now.